And we're running about the same in applications. We had 21 variance applications in 2015, and we had 19 in 2014. Planning board applications, we had 34 in 2015 and 35 in 2014. What did increase in front of the ZBA was interpretations and appeals. These are kind of time-consuming, long projects, so the workload did increase in the department. The planning projects that were approved this past year, we had 42 signs approved, which I thought was a lot, but when I went back and looked at last year, at 2014, there were 42 signs.
Oh, how
So
funny.
it's about the same. We also approved Hutchins Statsburg Storage, Hyde Park Truck and Auto on Route 9G. Both Stewarts were renovated. There were site plan changes to the Harvest Moon property owned by Mr. Wajda. St. James Antiochian Orthodox Church did an amendment. Matthews Auto Sales on Route 9G was approved. It hasn't been signed. It's not under construction yet, but that was approved. In the former Natalie's Chicken. Advanced Auto Parts came in. Mike's Auto Sales is in progress in front of the planning board. Rhinebeck Antiques for a pole barn is in progress. There are 2 buildings at the Haviland Shopping Center, buildings 1 and 2, that have been renovated, and they were approved through site plan. And Matt's Used Auto Parts is in progress to be purchased from Moltz. So it was a busy year.
Yeah.
And we've also worked to see through completion on several projects from years before. The CIA had the egg
Right.
CO'd, and I guess when the building department comes, they'll do
Sure.
their big show. This past year in 2015, there was a major focus on complaints. We revamped the snow regulations, sign enforcement, the flags. We've been trying to stay on top of the fluttering signs. We had a couple stormwater violations that needed to be remedied. The timber harvest application that eventually was withdrawn. And we implemented, or you implemented, the new municity system. We're not fully implemented on that in planning and zoning. That's one of the initiatives we'll be working on next year, is to come to
Imagine that's rather time-consuming for you because all the forms have to be downloaded,
all the
right?
forms were done, were updated. I spent, 2 or 3 weeks doing nothing but that. And there are still bugs in the planning process and in where the different things show up in the different tracks or pathways or whatever. I'm not a computer person.
Well, actually, I think that Will has said you've done very well with adapting.
We're trying.
Adapting to the new program. Are we at the point yet where planning and building are integrated in terms of communication through Municity?
No, we're not relying on that yet.
But that is one of our goals,
Oh,
though,
yes.
right? That
Oh,
we
yeah.
will be able to process an application in one department and have all that information available to the other, because you guys work very closely. Is that correct, would you say? Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
And what will happen is we will go in and we will actually put a little checkbox in the zoning review complete and authorized. And then I believe we still have to go through the paperwork backup that will be entered into the system as well.
Well, I think ultimately the goal is to incorporate our assessments along with the building and planning and zoning, so that everyone has access to that information and can, it's all interactive. I mean, there's so many connections that to be able for everyone to access that file at the same time should really be valuable.
I would think so. It's right now, it's very difficult it's difficult for the public to understand that some parts of the departments work together and other parts are separate.
Yep.
And it's kind of confusing.
Yeah. Well, I saw Will from SEA at the Association of Towns, and he said that even though the project is due to be completed in March, he's intending to continue to work with us, because we were because the Hyde Park was the lead on that project, that they agreed to use us as their planning and zoning model. So hopefully that's going to continue to move ahead. And one of the items that the county was emphasizing was a public portal for at least the access of applications. And I don't know where exactly that is, but that is what another goal that we would like to achieve at some point in the near future.
Yeah, currently, we have, Planning and Zoning has most of their applications online. We only have one form that's interactive because somebody volunteered to make a form for us that was interactive, and that's the sign permit application form.
Oh, that's on our website?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And
So if someone wanted to apply for a sign, they can do it right through that portal?
well, we send them the form.
Okay.
And they can fill out the form, but then they have to send in the form with the money and
Right.
the drawings. But yes,
Oh, well, that's good to know.
yeah.
That simplifies it. So, I mean, obviously, at some point, we'd like to see more of that.
Yes.
That's what we're working towards. Yep.
Yes. We also, in the past year, revised Chapter 93. Thank you very much. You'll hear more from Chapter 93 because we still have to adopt a stormwater management plan that
Okay.
identifies which departments are responsible for what tasks. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We also worked on a hazard mitigation plan to the setting aside of the community rating system for the flood development, but that
Right.
comes back on this year, and hopefully we'll be able to take that on this year, get back into the community rating system, because that should save the citizens quite a bit of money on their flood insurance, if they're required to buy flood insurance.
So how do we engage in that process?
Hannah was working on
Yeah,
it
so maybe-
previously, so it would be good to have, a town board liaison
Okay.
take the lead on that, and pick up where we left off.
Okay.
I'll be happy to keep working with you on it, and I don't want to put Joe on the spot, but if
Yeah, I'm
it's,
sure he'd be happy to.
it's something
Yeah.
that's especially important in Ward 3, so if you
Yeah,
are
definitely.
interested, we could work on that, yeah.
Be great.
And that, Municity will help that, because we'll be able to import the data and put the certificates of elevation on the particular parcels that have them, and identify which parcels are subject to the flood insurance. So that's part of the checklist that we've done for the CRS, the draft checklist. What else? We had a staff member out for
Yeah.
3 months last year, so we're happy to have her back.
Definitely.
But that was kind of a pinch on us. And my secretary, the part-time secretary, stepped up,
Yeah,
and you
appreciate that
authorized her to
from
be
Ann
full-time,
Hampson.
and Ann Hampson did a fantastic
She
job.
did. And Mary, my secretary,
Yep.
pitched in too, so that was great, that
It
we
was.
really didn't have
We didn't have
to
to hire
hire
a temp
anyone.
or
But
anything, so
I know
that's great.
Donna's very busy now that she's back. Trying to catch
Yes,
up.
she is.
Yeah.
I don't know how much else you want to know. I do a lot of work by emails. Last year, I sent 1,550 emails.
Wow.
So I do receive emails, I do respond to them. There were 223 building permits that came through the department and were authorized. The sign permits, the...
Do you sign off on all building permits?
Every building permit
Okay.
has to be reviewed by zoning.
Okay.
And that's part of the charge in the zoning code, is that I'm supposed to go through and establish a new list of what's approved on every property. So the easiest way for me to do that is when a building permit application comes in. They have to review the property, I have to review the property.
Okay.
And we go back and we find all the old variances from the 1960s, and we, all the special use permits and all the sign permits and everything that were on that property. The variances run with the land generally, so they really do need to be identified. We have not had a way to do that.
You haven't had a way to identify the variances or to?
To bring them together. unless I want to sit down and go through 8,000 parcels and call them up by grid, but sometimes grids change. They're filed by people's names, not by address, so it's quite a bit, and we'll.
So when you
we'll-
get an application, do you have to go through a variety of
We go
resources?
through a variety of resources, yes.
And then after you do that, do you try to put that in a compiled folder, or?
They're all identified on that building permit authorization. So that carries through the next time we do a building permit authorization on that property. We call up that document, and we have
Oh,
it right there.
that's great.
And that's one of the things
That-
that Municity's going to be good
Oh,
for.
that's great, yeah.
Let's see, what else did we do?
Ted, I have a couple questions, if you
Sure.
don't mind me asking. As you know, at least for me, most of the contact I have with you is violations with property and property issues. Maybe you can explain, to the people that are watching, what the process is when somebody has a complaint with a violation with their neighbor, with, maybe the car's not registered, or they have multiple cars, or there's garbage, there's a number of things. And sometimes it's not your department's issue, it's Don's issue in the building department. Is there communication between the two departments to say, hey, the issue is really on the building department, and Don starts dealing with it, and then you guys communicate back? When the complaint comes in, how long does it take for a response back to the person that's complaining, so they know that at least it's being worked on? Because a lot of times that's the conversations that I have with residents. They call me and say, hey, we have a problem with such and such a street. And then I say, hey, I think, we're working on it, or I'll talk to you and say, hey, yeah, we're working on it. But the resident, they could go 3 months, 6 months, 9 months without really knowing what's going on. Can you just go through the process of from how it starts and how it finishes?
Well, that's one of the things that we're hopefully using Municity for.
Okay.
Is that a complaint will come in, needs to be written and signed. We have complaint forms on the web. We have complaint forms in the office. If
My
a
office
complaint comes in anonymously, Municity will help us to generate a letter back to that person, if we have an address, that says, we've received this, we take it a lot more seriously, and it moves up on the list if you're willing to sign it, so that it becomes, a real thing for me to work on rather than hearsay. So hopefully, and I've been trying to do better on that this year, this past year, in replying to people who submit complaints. But a complaint comes in, it goes basically in a pile that I have to look at and make a list and go out and do a tour, take pictures. Some of them are founded with violations, some of them are not. If I find that it's not a violation that is of the zoning code, yeah, the property may be messy, but is it to the level of a zoning violation where there's over 1,500 square feet of stuff stored outside,
Well, can I just-
unenclosed,
Do you
so.
mind if I just interject, though? I think, because it took me a while to figure this out, actually, that the zoning administrator, she oversees zoning violations, and that's Tad. And those are cars and signs, and site plan and conformance with those things that are regulated by zoning.
Fence height.
Fences, that type of thing, what would normally be like on a site plan or subdivision application. But then we have something called the property maintenance code and building code and fire code, and those are administered by the building department.
I got you.
So if a resident has a complaint about, strewn garbage or, poison ivy everywhere or something, that really would be a property maintenance complaint that would be handled by the building department. And, but if someone had a complaint about cars or, fence or something like that, that would be, go to Tad. And those forms are available in my office, Tad's office, Don's office, and Ideally, what would happen, and when residents contact me, I always inform everyone to make sure that that everyone is apprised of the situation and that the appropriate person pursues it. But so it's just a lot of towns are organized somewhat differently. The code enforcement person could be your building inspector and your zoning administrator, and they could be one person. And, or you could just have separate code enforcement people. But,
I guess the question is, if you have a property that has multiple issues with, so I guess it would be two departments. You have
Could, and a
zoning
lot of times they work
and building,
together
which,
in
so
tandem.
I'm wondering, how do you guys have that synergy? Do you guys have a monthly meeting to say, hey, we're working on this property, there's cars, but we have this? Does that communication happen?
No, it doesn't. I go out, unless it's so egregious that it's very obvious that it should be handled by both departments. The building department can enforce and take to court things that are under their sections of code. I can only take things that I administer under my sections of code. Sometimes both of us go after something. We had an eviction on South Cross. Both of us ended up working on it. We did it in parallel. He did it under building, I did it under zoning. Actually, I did it under dumping, under a different section of law that I administer. It eventually got taken care of, but in a situation like that, yes, we certainly communicate. We're working together on a couple others that are currently in process and approaching ticket status.
Is our system effective, or do you think we need to change anything within our laws to make it?
I think we need more manpower,
Is that what it is?
absolutely.
Okay.
But it's budget dictated.
Yeah.
We have a full-time building inspector and then a part-time fire inspector. And the fire inspector, in addition to inspecting every public facility, every rental of more than 3 units is charged with administering the property maintenance code.
Okay.
So that's a lot, that's a pretty big burden for
It
a
is.
part-time person.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's challenging to do that. And, I'm.
So we need a part-time code enforcement?
I think
Is
it would
that-
really be very beneficial for the town to have that. It would enable us to be more proactive, and, it's a very formal process
Yes,
that
yes.
of issuing violations. It can't be haphazard. It's not, it has to be very compliant with the actual code violation. There's a lot of documentation that's required, and, a process that, we have appointed a zoning prosecutor and to move that along through the court system, and, it can be very long and frustrating, no doubt, but there's a lot of effort that it's amazingly time-consuming, and a lot of effort that goes into the processing of complaints, but, the residents should feel comfortable coming in and signing a complaint form. And I just took a class at the Association of Towns, and they said that, that information could be redacted, where you, if someone wanted to see the complaint, if they foiled for it, that you could block out the name of the person who signed it. And I think that that's a issue that a lot of people have, that, not,
Because
they
they
don't feel
could live next door,
comfortable
right? They're
with,
going to be neighbors.
neighbors.
with,
Let me go back and start again, because the initial complaint comes in. I'm trying to send a reply to every complainant. I go out, I look at it, I determine whether or not there's a zoning violation in place. If I send a second letter, the computer's going to help me send a second letter to the complainant to let them know whether or not I found anything and whether or not it's going to be processed. Then a notice of apparent violation is sent to the property owner. They are given a period of time, sometime between usually 2 weeks and 30 days, to clean up whatever the violation is, to respond to my letter, tell me, I didn't know, I'm sorry, I'll take care of that, I'm going to get it registered, or I'm selling it, or here, I need a permit for it, we're going to deal with it. If that doesn't work and they don't contact me, then it goes back on the list. I have to go out again, observe it, generally photograph it, and then I send a notice of violation and order to remedy. Again, 10 days to correct. They can call, they can appeal that order. Then you go out again, and now we're at the ticket stage. So now I have to prepare all the appearance ticket information and get that to the prosecutor and the police department. So it's a long process.
It is, and, but it's designed to protect people's rights.
It is.
And that's important, because there are people who, situations that people attempt to utilize the town to settle a vendetta or, to make a statement. And so, that's really what government is laws, and it's not opinion. So I think that it's one of the reasons that it's so process-driven, so.
I just wanted to mention that I think that Tad and the other staff members are very respectful, both to the person making the complaint and the person who the complaint is against. And I've had a number of times that people have contacted me and wanted me to pass along a complaint because they were concerned about making that contact themselves. And it's really just so much better if people call themselves, because then they can get the response back and just really stay in the loop a lot better, and their privacy is protected. So.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for,
I agree.
that's
Thank
very
you.
well put.
I try very hard to keep names out of it, because I am the one that goes out and observes. If I didn't go out and observe it, and I was relying on somebody that submitted a complaint, that would be different. But I am the one that observes it, and
You are required
I
to observe
become
it.
the complainant,
Right.
rather than who initially complained. Now, when we get to court, there are different rules of evidence and all kinds of stuff. I don't know whether that can be maintained secret throughout the entire process, but I do my best.
You do a great job. So we have a number of initiatives that we're working on in terms of revising the zoning, one of which is, as Tad mentioned, we updated the snow removal code, which we will be updating again. And another, which Emily has undertaken to apply for grant money for the scenic overlay, well, no, wait, what is it?
Scenic and historic overlay, right?
Yeah, and that's something that we will be taking on, and that it's this overlay that requires people basically in the village, or what we consider the village, to go to the site plan, to the planning board for a site plan waiver if they have to do anything on their property. And that's because it's been designated as a scenic and historic resource area. Is that how?
It's just very broad. The way it's been designated is based on a number of overlays that, when you combine them, cover a large part of the town. So we'd like to refine it to only include properties that are actually in view of the river or historic site, and not to include so many within that.
Yeah, and that would reduce some of the applications to the planning board for that type of waiver. So that's something that we intend to work on, as well as the zoning map you have finally, I think we've gotten that all updated properly, or close to it, right?
to it.
Yeah. And is there anything else that, we have had discussions on updating the code regarding a historic inn use or something along those lines, and that's another grant that Emily has applied for.
For
It's not,
adaptive reuse, yeah.
yeah, and so these are things that we're ultimately working on that hopefully will improve the zoning code to make it a more workable
Great.
document.
Thank you.
So, all right.
Another hot topic that I think I just emailed you on is solar farms.
Yeah.
And I think one or more of you may have been to a session on solar farm planning. I did not attend that, but they're starting to talk, and I'm
Well,
not sure how to.
I think what a good place to start would be to look at other communities that have adopted new code. I know LaGrange did, and so maybe at some point we could, gather up 2 or 3 different codes and see if we can kind of.
I think there's a state model. out
There is,
there.
and because there's really different categories. There's, people just wanting to put solar panels on their house or on their property versus a large solar facility. So there's different recommended code for those different types of uses.
And I'm not sure if there's a parallel for it in the comprehensive plan. So
Probably not,
we need-
because ours is from 1997, and I don't think solar was a big thing back then.
I wonder if the model code might come with a model comp plan
that might be
amendment.
a good
that would-
addendum
yeah,
for the
yeah.
comprehensive plan. All right, great. Does
Great.
anybody
Any
else
other
have any
questions?
No,
questions?
thank you, Ted. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
wait.
I just want to thank you, Ted, for helping me the last couple of years on the property maintenance. That I kind of like as a baby. It's very slow moving, like Aileen said, and it has to be done in an orderly process. But you have been great help to me in understanding it and getting some results on some too. I'd also like to thank the police department for offering their assistance when we came up against some, so let's say, belligerent homeowners, and they've offered their help, and I appreciate that, so we don't have to be in harm's way. But they can be quite volatile, these situations, and we try and just, be civil and treat everybody the same. And it can be difficult. But if we can get the property maintenance a little more defined, it would help.
Yeah.
Like the word blight. What's blight to you and blight to me, it's kind of pretty vague. So, not every place is going to look like the Vanderbilt Mansion, but, we can make it look a little better for the town and improve everybody's values. Thank you, Ted.
Okay, thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Ted.
Okay. Okay, so we have 13 resolutions on our agenda, and we do have a 14th that I will need a motion to add it to the agenda. Do you guys?
Are you okay with that, because you wanted to review these?
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to defer to next meeting.
Oh, you are?
That's
Okay.
the tax certiorari.
Yes.
If you haven't had a chance to digest it.
I
we can
didn't,
put it off.
we can, I had the feeling it was kind
Yeah,
of,
there's no
there's no
emergency.
time.
No,
Okay.
I just-
All right, then, if that's okay, yeah, then let's
Let's
just
put
put
it
it off. Okay. So I withdraw
we'll
that
put that off.
request for a motion. Okay, so.
You go? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Resolution two.
Oh, wait,
Nope,
no,
no
wait.
public
I was
comment.
just going to ask for public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, of
That's all
course.
right. So is there anyone in the public who would like to comment on any of the resolutions before us?
Just not.
Okay. All right, well, Emily, go ahead then.
Resolution 222-1 of 2016, resolution proclaiming the month of April 2016 as Parkinson's Awareness Month.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 222-2 of 2016, resolution authorizing Court Clerk Jessica A. Edwards to carry over accrued vacation time.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 222-3 of 2016, resolution authorizing the tax assessor, Kristen Cables, to carry over accrued vacation time.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 222-4 of 2016, resolution authorizing town supervisor to execute an undertaking with the New York State Department of Transportation.
And I'll just explain what this is that basically, it's an agreement with the Department of Transportation to allow Hyde Park Visual Environment and the Chamber of Commerce and sometimes the town of Hyde Park to work on their right-of-way. And so you have to have an agreement in place with DOT, and fortunately, Visual Environment took this on and provided the information to us, and that's what it
Can I give a
is.
little bit of?
Oh, yeah, Joe, please, yes.
Yeah, what Visual Environment's looking to do is to, one of our board members, Kathy Lane, has asked to, she's the one who's driving this.
Yes.
And what she wants to do is a monthly debris pickup along the highways,
Oh,
pick a different
nice.
section. And she had to get this resolution completed before we could do that. She's also looking into actually adopting a section of highway, a 2-mile section.
Oh, for visual
For
environment?
visual environment, yeah.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it's both 9 and 9G.
Oh, very
So,
nice.
yeah.
Well, tell visual environment, thank you. And
Sure.
Kathy in particular. And so did we vote on that?
No, we need
No.
a second.
Need a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 222-5 of 2016, resolution accepting a donation from RONDOUT Savings Bank, and this is for the 4th of July parade.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Rondout Savings Bank.
Resolution 222-6 of 2016, Resolution approving a memorandum of agreement in connection with collective bargaining negotiations with the Hyde Park Police Benevolent Association, Inc.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 222-7 of 2016, resolution appointing part-time police officers Sarah B. Hutchinson and Charles J. Jackson.
Second.
As, you have a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I think we have them in the audience tonight.
Congratulations.
Congratulations and thank you.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Welcome, thanks.
Resolution 222-8 of 2016, appoint part-time police assistant Sean T. Jackson and Vincent J. Marinucci.
And they're in the audience tonight, so welcome, thanks. And so do we have a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Welcome on board.
Resolution 222-9 of 2016, resolution to abolish inactive committees.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And we're nearing the completion of the transfer to the Water Authority and are thereby abolishing the Arbors, Greenbush, Violet Avenue water districts, as well as the Greenbush Water Advisory.
Resolution 222-10 of 2016, resolution designating emergency interim successors for town supervisor.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 222-11 of 2016, resolution authorizing the attendance of Don Westermeyer and John DeRusso at the Hudson Valley Code Enforcement Officials Education Conference, April 20th, 2016 through April 22nd, 2016.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there not a, it's just a, I don't think there's a number on here.
Number.
Oh, it didn't print it. It's 12? I'm sorry. Resolution 222-12 of 2016, resolution approving budget revisions to the Town of Hyde Park for the period of January 2016, budget revisions number 2016-01.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 222-13 of 2016, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute a consent to transfer of project and termination agreement with the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation.
Second.
And Warren, do you want to just?
Yeah, this is just in conjunction with our transfer of the assets and takeover of the systems for Greenbush and Violet Avenue Water District. In conjunction with the Greenbush, there was a EFC drinking water serial bond, and that is going to be taken over and assumed by DCWWA, but in order to do that, there had to be an agreement with DCWWA and Environmental Facilities Corporation, and an agreement also between us and the DCWWA to enable all that to happen. We closed on it last week, so this is just authorizing the supervisor to sign that agreement nunc pro tunc, which is retroactive to the closing of last week.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just so you know, we're going to start, I think we only have one more district to transfer. I'm going to be starting now on the dissolution of the districts that we've already transferred to DCWWA. So we'll start that process in the next month, and hopefully we'll have that completed very soon.
Sounds good. All right, great. Hey, Joe, I wanted to just ask you, I know you attended a meeting regarding the 4th of July parade. Did that? No, go ahead. I'll talk to see you at 9, right? See you at 9.
Yeah.
Were you able to connect with the Park Service and?
Yes, it was a very productive meeting. The Park Service showed, as well as the Rec Department. And they actually have a lot already planned or in the works of the floats, the theme.
What is the theme this year?
The theme is the parks.
The national.
National parks, yes. And so they were getting very creative with the floats and the ideas, and it was they have a lot of great planning that went on. It was about an hour meeting. So there is a follow-up meeting coming up, I believe, in a couple of weeks, So more to come on that.
Okay, yeah,
But it was
because
good.
it's the 75th anniversary of the first National Library.
Right.
I mean, it's the Presidential Library.
Right.
So I know when I had met with the new director, he mentioned that he really was hoping to make it a bigger celebration
I
this
know,
year.
I believe they said that the libraries already had their set of activities planned, so
Oh,
that more
okay.
focus was going to be on the parks
Oh,
for the
okay.
theme. Yeah,
Oh, I see.
for the
Okay.
theme, yeah.
All right, great. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how that comes forward.
They did send an invitation to President Obama to attend. They haven't heard yet.
Well, I don't know why he wouldn't come, honestly.
He's got to build his own.
I think, just to mention, they're also looking for bands, is that right?
We
So if
are,
anyone out there in TV land knows someone who is part of a marching band that would like to be part of the parade, the rec department is in search of those.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, definitely, marching bands, yeah.
And then, is there a CAC event coming up for the Solarize?
It's not till April, so we'll get the
okay.
details
Oh,
on that,
okay,
yeah.
Good.
But March 3rd, right, is here?
The county executive will be here on March 3rd at 5:30 to discuss the new jail. So the public is, of course, welcome, and we should probably talk to the media committee about their availability.
Yes.
So, all right, so any other comments?
I had a meeting today with the media committee, and they would like a workshop scheduled sometime,
Okay.
a month or so.
All right, can-
A lot they want to
sounds
talk about.
Okay, great. All right, so with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a
So
motion?
move.
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
You got it ahead of me now, Kenny.
Okay. Oh,
you
they
gotta
haven't
get- you
seen
gotta
anybody for that for a while.